Hello, this is Kathleen with the San Diego Artisan Bread School. Today we're going to demonstrate the fold over knead that we teach at the school. Our dough is ready to go. It's been auto-leased for 20 minutes. We've added the salt and now we're ready to begin the knead. I'm going to pick it up out of the bowl. I'm going to put just a little bit, I'm using canola oil here, just a little bit in the bottom of the bowl. I'm going to primarily use my dominant hand, which is my right hand. I'm going to pick up a piece. I'm going to fold it over a little more than halfway. I'm going to push it down. I'm going to rotate the bowl. This corner comes available. I'm going to pick that up and push that down. Working counterclockwise because I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, you would go the other way. Just pick up the corner, fold it over. Pick up the corner, fold it over. I'm going to do this between 15 and 20 times. When it starts to fight me, that's when I'll stop. This is a very gentle, very easy movement. I'm not pulling it way out and I'm not pushing it way down to the bowl. I'm basically just folding it over. I'm on about 8, 9, 10. Can you see how my left hand primarily is moving the bowl and holding the dough steady so my right hand can get a good grip. Okay, we're at 15 kneads, and I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to lay it seam side down so it doesn't splay open. I'm going to give it a love pat, cover it, and I'm going to let this rest for 10 minutes. We're going to do this 4 times. At the end of the 4th time, our gluten will be fully developed. There will be no need to do the window pane test or to tug at our dough to see if the gluten has been developed. What I'm going to show you here is what is happening in your bread. In the dry state, your flour, wheat flour, has the most gluten. It has 2 forms of gluten, glutidin and gliadin. And they sit curled up like this in the dry form, like what we've got here. When you add water, these two kind of relax and kind of spread out like this. Now here's the magic of gluten. Everywhere these two touch each other, they form a very strong bond. So all these this is happening microscopically. With time or energy, okay? Time, 10-minute rest in between, energy, the little kneading that we're doing. This will develop, the gluten will develop automatically into a very neat web like this. And you see it happening as your dough gets shinier, less fractured looking. Your dough becomes a lot shinier. This now, your web will hold the CO2, which is produced by the yeast. Yeast produces CO2 gas, which fills up your gluten web, and then your bread rises. Now here's why whole wheat bread isn't as fluffy and light as white flour. Whole wheat bread has sharp bran shards in it. It cuts your fragile gluten strands, and you can see what happens. It cannot hold the CO2. So that's why whole wheat is not quite so high. What we're looking for in our dough that we're developing right here is we're looking for this nice, shiny, well-developed gluten web. And we're back. We're going to do our second knead on our classic sandwich bread. I'm going to oil my hands. I'm going to pick the dough up. I'm going to flip it over. This is going to become the top of my loaf. So I'm going to flip that over. Maybe it's a dollop of oil down there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Pick it up, fold it over. Now it's starting to get some air into it, so what I can do is I don't have to use my thumb and my fingers as much as I can just roll it with my hand, which I find I can get a nice pressure and hold it together a little bit better. But either way works. You can either use your whole hand or you can just roll it over like this. You see it's got some nice bubbles in it now. It's developing nicely. My gluten, feel that, look at that. My gluten is starting to get developed. And look at this fighting me already. Okay, I'm just gonna do a couple more. Okay, I'm gonna roll it over. And what I don't want is a big hole in the middle here, is why I'm pulling it over just a little farther. And I'm gonna put it seam side down. With my technique, at the end of the 4th fold over knead and rest, your gluten is fully developed. There's no guessing at all. Okay, here's our last. This is going to be our last fold over knead. I'm going to oil on my hands. I'm going to pick up my dough. Remember, this is going to become the top of the loaf. I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to do 15 at least more little fold over kneads. It's really getting bubbly, gluten's developing and starting to fight me. There we go. Just fold it right over onto itself. Then I'm going to pick it up. I've got my rising container ready to go. I've oiled this is a double loaf. I've oiled a 4-quart container. This is a Cambro. I'm going to just push that in. I like these because you can put the lid on so it doesn't dry out. Now what I do is I take a little piece of masking tape. I'm going to put my masking tape, the top of my masking tape is on the top of my loaf. When this gets just below the 4-quart, I know it has doubled. There'll be no guessing involved. So I go by time, generally about 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes, depending on the temperature of the room and whether it's doubled or not.